Today, I will focus on the emotion of sadness. From my point of view, to group all negative feelings in three simplifies and helps me talk about them. Anger, fear, which I've addressed before, and now I want to address the emotion of sadness. We know sadness because it brings tears easily. And it makes me realize that sometimes when we have tears, it's not about sadness. For me, when I touch into my truth, I feel the tears come. For other people, it may be their expression of anger. Feelings are complex in the way that they show up for us and how we might understand them. And what I'm speaking about comes from my own experience with clients and myself. So it's not any authoritative source, but I hope what I say can be helpful to you. I can remember two times when there was significant crying, and I may have mentioned one before. I was 21, gotten married, and on the way to graduate school. My parents were with us in California, and we went to the car after saying goodbye to them. I didn't think it was a big deal. Yet, once I got in the car, I just burst into tears. And now, as I'm describing it, I realize it's not just about moving to a different stage in my life, leaving the protection of my parents' home. But now I see the sadness could well be when I left my home, my divine home. However, the story is told, when we humans left the Garden of Eden. Another time where I struggled with sadness was when I ended a relationship, a 5-year relationship. It was something that I agreed with because it made no sense to continue as we were moving, because I could clearly see that he was moving a different direction. He had decided, and I wasn't included in that. So it was ended. But in the month following, in the evening especially, I would be overcome with grief and sadness. So much so, I would usually call to talk to him. And he was very kind and compassionate, but as much as connection I could receive in those conversations, it wasn't enough. And I soon realized it and let it go. Here I was touching on leaving a 5-year relationship where it was the center of my life, my emotional life, and I was ending it. It's about ending a deep connection. And I think that that is basically how we may, in general, universally experience grief, the end of a deep connection, at least in terms of our bodies, you know. When someone dear to us die and we feel the grief, the connection to their physical body somehow brings up the suggestion that we will be parted from their spirit and heart as well. But of course, that isn't really true because we are spirits. And when a body dies, it doesn't mean the spirit dies and no longer available to you. At least that's my point of view. So it's about the physicality, the presence that catches up more involved in grief. And what I'm realizing more and more these days is that you don't grieve unless the connection is deep and strong, or rather, you grieve to the degree of the depth of the love or connection you had with the person who was no longer there. And while there is much sadness, there can be reflection on the love that is shared and how rich it was, how it meant a lot to both of you. So you can move from the loss part to the appreciation part. And then when you realize that that love is never lost, you are even more at peace. So taking a step back, I want you to look at the larger picture. The larger picture of how I suggest to recommend we all deal with negative feelings, anger, fear, and grief, is to see them as messages from the heart. The message of sadness has to do with how painful it is to have something treasured and to have lost it. Because I think it touches other themes of loss, and the deepest loss we could experience, and that is our connection to spirit. Going into the inner child history, remember, I use the quotation, wisdom of Marianne Williamson, saying, we came as love, then we learn fear, and we need to unlearn fear. We came as love, and when human life taught us about fear, we lost that connection to the love or who we are. And that's a grievous loss because the opposite is fear. And now it's like love, light, fear, darkness. So it is pointing to a very important experience in human life. And though I don't spend that much time talking about loss, I realize as I am speaking now, it's something that we need to pay attention to, especially because this idea came to me that grieving or loss isn't about just sadness, because the heart of that is the pain of loss. The heart of anger is the pain of having your needs denied. The fear is about the pain of not having safety, not feeling protected. Pain is a common denominator. It's the essential core experience of childhood wounds from my point of view. So, regardless what feelings you are dealing with and considering it, I believe that they are all tied together. It's just whatever expression is coming to you that you could stay with. And when you stay long enough, the other parts will show up, because the painful experience wasn't just about sadness and loss. It's about being afraid because what was lost was so comforting and stabilizing and needed. And it's about being angry for losing this. No, the heart says, I needed this. I needed this person. I needed this connection. So, from my point of view, as I'm articulating it now, all those feelings are entangled, and we can start with one. But if we stay long enough, we uncover that the three are intermingled, and staying with them, each one in turn, it is a rich reclaiming of the experience of the young inner child, so that instead of just coming in because of anger or fear or sadness, you can be with the full experience of the inner child, which can be more deeply and effectively healing because you're just not taking one slice. So that is my basic point about feeling sad or grieving. It, as much as any negative experience, is rich for you to move into your inner world, into your heart. Because when you align with your heart, you learn so much about how your heart was broken. And from my point of view, in working with your subconscious or the superconscious, as I do with clients and myself and with students, when you uncover a fuller experience and the memories connected with the fuller experience, there is more to be treated, neutralized, released, healed. So then the inner child work that I do leaves the individual more at peace because this source of negativity has been looked at, appreciated, grasped as much as possible, and treated, healed. So, any questions, any comments? I appreciate your being with me in this time.